Welcome to another in the series, The Sip and the Chat. Welcome to another in the series, Sip and the Chat. I'm your host, Leleith Tomlinson. Well, we are, believe it or not, in the month of May. That means when we are finished with this month, we only have one more month to go before we're actually at the halfway mark to 2025, believe it or not. Well, May is always a special time. There are so many major events that happen in May. It's all about Child's Month, and then we have Mother's Day. And so for this month, we're going to dedicate a number of our series to children, and we're also going to be celebrating our moms as well. So this afternoon, in the high spirit of Child's Month, I have with me one who is very, very versed in the area of child advocacy, issues affecting children. And then she just has a big plate. She addresses a plethora of issues as it relates to children and a lot of other areas. So I'm going to make her introduce herself in her right space. But just preliminary to say, I want to welcome attorney at law Nordia Marrit. I got the Marrit correct?
Marrit,
right. And it's such a pleasure to have her with me today. I know she's very learned in a number of areas. And that's what we want to do here at Sip and Chat, to be able to impart knowledge, one that has been talked about and well researched. And we want to look at what exactly is the impact of music and how it correlates with the behavior of children and a number of other areas. So with me today, I have, as I said, attorney at law. I'm going to just ask you just a little bit about who is Miss Nordia Marrit.
Marrit. Well, as you know, I'm an attorney at law. I love law, the area of law, youth as well. So naturally, my work and who I am is encapsulated in youth development. I believe predominantly that as a culture, and I must say I'm Pan-African, and Africa, I believe in our Caribbean lifestyle. I believe in the importance of our lifestyle and how that impacts who we are and we are developing as a nation. We're a very young nation.
Yes.
We come out of independence. And so a part of my advocacy too is strongly as far as sense of self, who we are, where we're going, taking the baton that has been passed on
from
to us,
so many, such a rich legacy.
Absolutely, from our ancestors, and making it count in my generation. And so, in a nutshell, basically, that's essentially who I am.
Yes, boy, I'm smiling because in our pre-discussion before coming on air, I want to also say that you are a graduate of the Greater Portmore High School, and I said that I want to mention that because a lot of times we don't highlight the success of persons who are from what we call non-traditional high school. And I know there are lots of achievers out there. But more importantly, you said something that I found very interesting when I said to you, because, I automatically thought that you went from, going through the rigors, Norman Manley, etc., UWI, and then became a lawyer. And I asked you, what triggered this passion for law? And I think my audience will be very interested to hear that story. Go ahead, Nordia.
My passion for law. So my passion for law ignited when I was 15 years old. I was on my way to school in the morning, and I saw an old lady. She was put out of her house. She was sitting down on her bed with all her things around her. And she was looking up in the sky, talking. So with my little mind, I'm perceiving that she's talking to God. And so I felt so sorry for her. And in that moment, I decided people should not go through something like this without having representation and someone to defend them. And so at that time, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah. And particularly too, I wanted to work predominantly in the parish court, because this is where some of these matters, majority of these matters, they come up into. And to provide an avenue where persons who can't afford legal representation, I am here to lend my assistance.
Wow.
So that is.
I am so drawn in just to listen to you, Nordia, because you speak with such sincerity as a lawyer and as a person, and I know that's naturally you because I'm privileged to have you as one of my sisters as well. Yes, so just listening to you to hear to you here is so important. Now, one of the things that we want to really look at today, because on Tip and Chat, everybody said, "Boy, you need to let this program longer." But the sweet and to the point, right? So I want to look at the benefits of the impact, first of all, of music on our youths, whether they be children or young adults. Talk to us.
The truth is we are having several challenges now as far as youth is concerned. Mm-hmm. There's an issue that is burning, the issue of identity. So we have the identity crisis looming. We also have several other factors coming into play. We have issues where we have a lot of our young people who are addicted to drugs.
Yes.
We have a lot of our young people who are trying to find the sense of family, because we know predominantly we're in the Caribbean and Jamaica in particular. And the studies show that majority of our households are headed by single parents. And not only that the majority of single parent headed households are headed by women. And so under those circumstances, we see where it affects our boys, it affects our girls, and predominantly we were in time past seeing it affecting our girls in terms of the relationship decisions that our girls are making. But now we're seeing based on the implications on our boys, the decisions that they're making in terms of where they go with their careers. They're being siphoned off, some of them by gangs, because they are looking for that father figure. And there's somebody, an elder, as they consider to be in the gang, that will say, "Come, let me show you how to be because the truth is, a woman cannot show a boy to be a man."
I would really like you to say that again, because a lot of times, I say this every time when it's Mother's Day. You have a person said, "My mother who fathered me." And now we are hearing, and as you're rightfully saying, a woman cannot father a son. I think the domain and the space that was established first is what we need to understand, that every construct that has an origin was in terms of God's plan was there for a particular design.
Yes.
And so even though we have come to a point where we're seeing a lot of the contrary, where we have these single families and mother has to be acting as if she is that was not the original construct.
It's not the construct, and you're absolutely correct, but it is what we have, right? And the truth is, there are a lot of mothers who are fathering their children. And then, because of course, naturally, as you say, it was not the design of God. The design was the mother was the nurturer.
Right.
And so now we're seeing a lot of some of the issues that we're having in terms of battle of the sexes. It's stemming because of the relationship that the man might have had with his mother. Because the mother now, the father would have been the disciplinarian. And so you would not equate harshness, crudeness with the woman, the mother, because she's a nurturer. Usually the mothers leave the discipline to the father when both is in the household and it's balanced. So wait until your father come. He will deal with the discipline. But now you find mothers have to discipline their sons. And under those circumstances, there are issues, mother issues.
Exactly.
And usually they say men usually are drawn to women who are like their mothers. And then now they have to battle through those issues. Some of those issues are conscious. They're unconscious. So they're having
and the unconscious ones are the dangerous ones.
Most dangerous.
They are the most dangerous. Yes. I was just speaking to our producer because we have these side shows before we actually come on air. So in light of what we're going to talk about, we were this unconscious emotion that plays out in people's life is something that's very significant.
Absolutely.
Because I was explaining to the producer in a sidebar that one of the challenges that we have with relationship and with family is that sometimes Tom is married to Mary, but Mary hasn't gotten over the abuse of Peter.
Absolutely.
And then plus the one that you got from Tom.
Yes.
And it happens both with males and both with females.
Yes.
So when they enter into the space of now committed to someone and having those issues unresolved and some of them unconscious, you find a lot of upheaval, so to speak, in those relationships. And now what you're seeing, Attorney Nordia, is that those things now transcend into how they manage their own households. And it's something that we need to talk about in Jamaica and talk about more in the open space, because what I find as a psychologist is that a lot of people don't want to come to counseling,
Yeah.
because everybody think that, oh, they can deal with their issue and they can, but it is a science. It is something that we need to understand, that things happen to people and we don't just get over it.
Yes.
And we can't just sweep it under the counter. So as we talk about those kinds of emotions or not, talk to us about how music itself now comes into the interplay.
Yes. So as I had indicated, we have the single parent household, mother, no father for the most part. Now mother is out at work, and the child is left in most instances to self-parent, because usually you would have someone in the house. One of the parents would be in the house when the children comes home. Now the issues that are stemming around this breakage in the family, there has to be a gap that fills that. Now we're looking at one of the gap fillers, which would be the music. There are many of our young people and many of our youths will attest, when they are going through their sufferation, quote unquote, their confusion, quote unquote,
their neglect,
quote unquote, and issues surrounding that, because we have several social issues that are affecting our young people. And now they want something that soothes that. Their souls, soothes their souls, it soothes their mind. It gives them that kind of escape. And that is one of the most important impact that music has. I don't know if you recall, in the scriptures, when the Spirit of God was taunting King Saul, the music David played on his instruments, and it soothed his soul.
Right.
And so coming now to what music
I'm
is.
so glad to see that we call a temple donor that we have Christian lawyers who are very versed in the word.
Yes, and importantly, and not just even impacted, but we have to understand whether or not we're Christians, yes or no. We have to know the word of God.
Exactly.
Because that's what we need to operate in our daily lives. Because where we are moving now, almost everything is spiritual. We're now in the era of the literal spiritual warfare, where the devil is walking the earth and God is walking too. And so and people are literally choosing their sides. And we see that in the music. Right? We see that in Jamaica. We see where people are literally coming out to say, I am serving the devil, and this is where I am. And the sounds are being created, the words coming through. Right? So that is in and of itself a natural fact.
So Nordia, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that music helps us to identify with who we are. Talk to us a little bit. You talked to us about that.
Yes.
Talk to us about a little bit more as we delve deeper in the sense of belonging as a person and part of the wider community.
Yes. So as we were talking about before, you find that we have an identity crisis in our country, and we would have already explored where some of those issues are coming from.
Right.
So the music serves as a vehicle, and we know that we have a rich, let us keep it within the Jamaican context. We have a rich musical history. When we're talking about Jamaica, we're talking about music. So under those circumstances, we're moving out of the colonial era where we were, and our people in and of itself, we have our identity crisis coming from our colonial past, which is what our youths are also experiencing and exhibiting the remnants of that. Looking at our progression now, as far as our musical history is concerned and the identity is concerned, music has always been a vehicle that speaks about social issues, that speaks about the issues that our people are having, the issues that we're having with the state, who we are as a person, where we're from. So we have music coming like from the merengue. We had the development, the progression. We have the merengue. Then we move up, which would have been coming out of the folk era, because our people were coming out of that era. So of course, naturally, and we know the beating of the drums, which identifies who we are as Africans predominantly. And that's what our people used to use to soothe themselves too in the revolution.
I have to give you this joke. I was talking about music and a sense of belonging and identity. I was in a conference in Winnipeg and they started to worship, right? So they started to worship, and it was a lot of persons in Winnipeg. There was a university, so there were lots of students that were there and faculty and so on. And as they started to fellowship, right, they were playing the music. Let me tell you something. When I was there, I could clearly understand why the colonial people would be so have an issue with them worshiping, because it was like there was so much communication going on between the hand movement, the foot movement. And I'm sure our producer will show us a few of those kinds of things. But what we're understanding here is that music is an extension of the soul. It's how you feel. What's drive you. And very importantly, as you say now, this is where I really feel, because it's a form of social commentary, right? And then people begin to identify with the social commentary. The presentation now of the music is what's going to be of concern.
Yeah, and the music speaks to our cultural identity. So we're still trying to find our identity, right? Because we were taken from one place, brought to another, and now we're having to exist in this place, and we don't know who we are, where we're from. And so under those circumstances, our musicians have always used the music to assist us in shaping our identity. So now we move from, like I said, we would have had the merengue, and it gives us coming out of the African folklore kind of a thing. We move now and we're going on to the ska. And then that now you see a different kind of dress, because now you see music shapes. When we're talking about identity is not just necessarily, because of course you're a psychologist, and when we talk about identity, when you speak about identity, it will be different from when I speak about identity, or from the lay person speaking about identity. But we see identity in the way we dress. We see identity in the way we eat. We see identity in the way we
socialize.
Speak. We see identity in the way we're socialized. And so the music has always assisted us in that. We see the revolutionary music, for example, coming from the reggae music, where they're talking about the oppression, we're talking about, and we see our people progressing from then in terms of the dressing, the hairstyle, what we're believing, what we're eating. And so coming now to present day, we're seeing that still today in the way in which our young people are dressing. The music has an influence on that. It's shaping the culture, it's shaping the fashion, it's shaping the education. The other day, somebody said, you know what, I'm fully done. And we see our young people walking through school gates with a bag that says fully done.
Embraced.
And so we see red shapes. So the music also has the power to educate.
Yes.
And it's teaching our children.
This is so powerful, Nordia. As I said, I know we're not going to be able to finish today, but as you speak, I'm so enlightened as well, because I'm walking through memory lane with you, and I'm seeing how the music truly influenced culture in more than just people saying that, oh, we dance to this beat, but how it influenced our attire and just how it speaks to our mind
and our mood
and our behavior. So talk to me a little bit about that part, because I'm very interested in that part.
Yes, very interesting, because as you know, we are moving into a society and a culture that is more aggressive.
Right.
When we had like the rock steady, it was a slower kind of move.
Right, so it kind of temper you.
Yes, it tempers your spirit, because the music does impact your emotions. It impacts who you are. And so we had a slower kind of tempo. You know, we moved to the reggae, and we're more revolutionary, and we're talking about all sorts of issues, and the people are riled up and they're concerned about what's going on in the world and in the news. And we saw where even in the universities, they were sparking revolutions, university students. In fact, last night I was on a radio program, and we were talking about university students are not getting up and championing causes anymore.
No.
But in the reggae era, our university students were marching, talking about issues. So
we had Walter Rodney and those people.
Absolutely.
Right.
So under those circumstances,
we have become very subtle. When I say subtle, we have become very aggressive, but in a different way.
Yes.
Because, you know, a lot of social issues that we should advocate for,
yes,
we are silent about them. Yes. And it's actually like we say to ourselves, oh, we will try to survive.
Yes.
But we're not transformational. Nobody is doing anything that's really revolutionary.
Yes.
You know, we talk about radical and so on, but it's like more a rhetoric or an expression, or it sounds good. But in terms of, I mean, to the point where we totally move 180, because a lot of people say 360, and I understand that 360 brings us back to the same point.
Yes.
But I'm sure in pockets people are having the conversations. Yes. I'm definitely, because I'm sure you're one of those persons. In our small groups as well, we speak about the conversations, but we don't have any uprising.
Yes. Oh, we have uprisings, but for the wrong
reasons. Right.
The entire Jamaica, I mean, from a good majority of our Jamaican people surrounded the courthouse downtown for a particular reason. But is it necessarily the reason that we want it to be for? And is it a cause that is advancing our people? Is it really? Because,
Right.
for example, the artists will tell you, for many of them who are producing the lewdest, the slackest, the crudest music, they tell you they don't allow their children to listen to it.
But every
But we're
time I hear
fighting
that,
for them, though, and we're prepared to surround a courthouse in defense, and we're prepared to sell out stadiums. But then when we look at it, is it really serving us? Is it really serving our children? Is it really serving our boys when our boys are being influenced to shoot each other? Somebody said, go in front of a police station, shoot them in broad daylight. And now our young people, we're seeing that happening. Once upon a time, people would attack in the dark, in the night. They wait until the night. But no, people in the broad daylight. So then how is that now advancing us? And we have to look at how the music is shifting, shaping our culture. And not only that, shaping the actions, the attitude of our, and particularly the attitude of our boys.
wow, that is so profound. Attorney at law Nordia Marrit. Married. Yes, I keep saying right. It's so important, the things that we take for granted. Or let them listen to the music, or let them do this and not do that. And not understanding how you take on a lot of what you hear, a lot of video, because you can be somewhere and you have no intention to listen to a certain kind of music, but the music is so powerful that before you know it, your body starts.
And you see it in the babies.
Exactly.
The little babies are walking, little 1-2-year-old walking, and the beat catches them. They don't know what the song is saying because, of course, naturally they're cognitively
they haven't reached that place.
But they'll release themselves from your hand and they'll begin to move to the beat and the music, and you see them moving to the music, moving to the beat, and then it now just shows you how powerful the beat is, how powerful the music is, because it transcends generation, it transcends time.
I want to say to our viewers that it is music that we use in our therapeutic experiences sometimes to soothe people, to manage depression, to manage anxiety. So we can't just turn on our radios and say music will play.
Yes.
We have to make those conscious decisions to say, this is what I want my household to listen to.
Absolutely.
And this is what I refuse to have played in my household.
Absolutely.
Those are some of the conscious decisions that we have to make. Wow, the program is so good. Nordia, I definitely have to have you back. But as we close up, pull us in.
I wanted to also be conscious of the fact, and for parents and adults and community members, church members, institutions, to recognize that the music that are being made now and produced now are not being produced for us as adults. Because once we get to a particular age, our concept of life, who we are, is basically being settled. It's set and settled. So the music is actually being created for our youth. And we have to monitor the music that is being created. We're going to have to listen to them. Many of us are Christians, or we say, that's young people music, I don't want to be a part of it. But listen to it. Listen to what it is saying. Listen to the issues that it's raising, and then begin to speak to your children about those issues.
Wow. Nordia, I know our time is winding down, but this is something, as you said, something came to me that we say we don't want to listen, and we don't have to listen, but something is happening.
Something is happening.
And what is even more frightening is that now our kids, they listen through their headphones, their headset.
Yes.
So when we think, oh, they're not disturbing us, we're not hearing, they're hearing what they're hearing.
And they're modeling and emulating.
And then they said to them, where did you get this from?
Absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm definitely going to have back attorney at law Nordia Marrit with me. And I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us here on Sip and Chat. Music is powerful. Music is a weapon. Excessive and improper use of music may even will damage your ear, but more can damage your life.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that whatever you're listening to is something that is positively impacting your heart, soul, and your spirit. Until next time, let us just continue to sip and chat as we seek to empower our nation's youth, because everything that we do today is going to have some impact tomorrow. Let us listen to some good music. Is that okay? Empower the mind, soul, and spirit. Until next time, let us continue to sip and chat.